Say yeah for it's another edition of Strictly Sports. Hello, friends. Anthony Floyer here with you, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher. Awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. I don't know if he'll be with us or not, but quick little backstory. We were supposed to have the show last night, but I had a very special commitment beyond my control. And because of that, I had to reach out to Derek Ferreira and let him know what was going on. And I said, let's just push it back to tomorrow. And that's exactly what we agreed to do. So we're here for the second straight Saturday night. I mean, unbelievable. So, anywho, just wanted to clear that up. Oh my goodness, what a finish when it comes to the regional finals in the NCAA tournament. MF, wow.
Great game, great battle. Congratulations to the Virginia Cavaliers, man. Redemption. They're going, 1 year ago, they were the biggest goats, no pun intended, as they were the first number one seed to fall in the NCAA tournament. 1 year later, just like the commentary said during this game, they're going to the holy grail of college basketball. 1 week from tonight, they're going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota at US Bank Stadium to be playing in the Final Four. What a story for Virginia. So, yes, congratulations to the Cavaliers. First time since '84, since some guy named Ralph Sampson took them to the Final Four. So,
yeah, I heard it was pretty good.
He was very good for Virginia back then. So no, unbelievable game.
Oh.
Tip our cap to Purdue, man. What a game. They could have won it. I know there's a lot of heartbreak, especially in Purdue land. The Boilermakers, trust me, guys, they play their hearts out, and their kids should not be ashamed or. I know it hurts. I know they're heartbroken right now, but trust me, guys, you guys should not hang your heads low. You played an unbelievable game tonight, and congratulations to them on what was an unbelievable run to the Elite Eight. I mean, nothing bad to say. This was a great game. I know a lot of people's been slamming the NCAA tournament because of all the blowouts and everything else. Trust me, with this game tonight, with the Duke Virginia Tech last night, I think we probably are. We might be peaking at the right moment for some unbelievable action, all the way up to the national title game 1 week from now.
Oh, and there's nothing for me to say, MF, except you're main eventing tomorrow, big boy. That's all I got to say.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to do Michigan State and Duke. That's going to be an unbelievable game in the nation's capital. I cannot wait to do it.
Yeah, you were conflicted. You had the two regions, but you took the chance on the region that had Duke, Virginia Tech, LSU, and Michigan State over Carolina and Kentucky. But then again, you've already got to witness Kentucky and Carolina. You took the gamble. It paid off, and you got the one you wanted. And we'll get more into this a little bit later on. But we have some other things we need to get into here tonight on this special Saturday night edition of Strictly Sports. And we are going to start it off with some hot stove stuff. Big-time hot stove stuff from the world of the NFL. Blake Bortles. You remember Blake Bortles? Nearly took the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Well, he's out of Jacksonville. That's now Nick Foles' team. And now he's off to the West Coast. The Los Angeles Rams announced on Monday, March 18th, they signed the former Jacksonville Jaguar quarterback to a one-year deal. Bortles will serve as Jared Goff's backup. Jeff Darlington of ESPN first reported Bortles was quote-unquote, finalizing the deal after the Jaguars released him in the wake of the Nick Foles signing. The Baltimore Ravens and Denver Broncos were also interested in Bortles, according to Michael Silver of the NFL Network. In Los Angeles, Bortles will be adjusting to life behind Goff, the team's franchise quarterback, who has shown significant improvement under head coach Sean McVay. For Bortles, working with the team will be an opportunity to improve and show off those improvements in the preseason, where he could catch the eyes of other franchises. And Bortles, he spoke about the importance of joining McVay's Rams per Kevin Patra of NFL.com. And I quote, I mean, I think as a quarterback, there's not really anybody else you'd rather be around if you had your pick. What he's done, the people that have been taken out of here for head coaching jobs and offensive coordinator jobs in other places, I think is a testament to how good he is at what he does, how good of a teacher and a coach he is. And you watch them play, and the effort and intensity that they play at speaks to the type of head coach he is and how he gets the guys going. The 26-year-old was the number 3 overall pick by the Jags in the 2014 NFL Draft and looked like he might live up to that billing in his second season, throwing for 4,428 yards and 35 touchdowns. However, there were warning signs that despite those gaudy numbers, Bortles wasn't going to be a great quarterback, namely his 18 interceptions and 58.6 completion percentage that season. And indeed, he struggled from there, never eclipsing 4,000 passing yards in a season, while throwing just 57 touchdown passes to 40 interceptions over the next 3 campaigns. And while the Jaguars made a run to the AFC Championship game in the 2017 season, they limped to a 5-11 record this past season. Despite his struggles, the Jaguars committed to him to the tune of a 3-year, $54 million extension in February 2018. He only lasted 1 year into that extension. The UCF product struggles with accuracy, a 59.3 career completion percentage, and is not an effective downfield passer, 6.7 yards per attempt for his career. While he has impressive athleticism and is at his best extending plays and escaping pressure with his legs, his struggles in the pocket limited Jacksonville's upside. That prompted the team to sign Nick Foles to a 4-year, $88 million deal, and in the process, ending the Bortles era. My thoughts on this, very simply put. For the NFC champs, Bortles is being brought aboard as a backup, likely his future role in the NFL after his struggles with the Jaguars. In that role, he represents solid value given his experience. As a starter, he was a liability, if I'm being honest. It was time for a change, and this should be a solid one for both sides. Take major steps in Los Angeles, and Bortles could be an option for teams looking for veteran starters at quarterback down the road. He may be Jared Goff's backup, but Bortles will still be working to eventually return to starting status elsewhere. So, like I said, I think he's a liability as a starter, and I think as a backup, I think he could learn from Jared Goff. He could learn from Sean McVay. I mean, look what he has done. I mean, ever since they let Jeff Fisher go, Sean McVay has changed the culture of that team. And look what's happened. 2 winning seasons. They made the playoffs 2017. Of course, they got embarrassed in that wild card game against Atlanta. This year, they got to the Super Bowl, controversially so, but still, they got to the Super Bowl. And even though the Patriots absolutely dominated and manhandled them from start to finish in one of the best defensive performances you will ever see in a Super Bowl, this team's going to be around for a long time. And I would not be surprised if we see them in the big game again next year at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. They're definitely one of the teams to keep an eye on. And Bortles could learn. Like I said, he could learn from Jared Goff. So only time will tell. But, I think we'll only see Bortles. The only way we'll see Bortles is if Jared Goff, either suffers an untimely injury or if they bring him in for garbage time, if they have, if they have like a major blowout or something. So, but I think we'll see him in the preseason as well. When we get to preseason, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some work in during that. So, we'll find out, but only time will tell. So there's nothing more to say on this. MF, come on in. Blake Bortles signing with the NFC champion Los Angeles Rams. He's going to serve as Jared Goff's backup. I think that's a great idea.
Well, obviously, Blake Bortles was, he was the guy. He was at one time the man who was running the Jacksonville Jaguars, and a lot of people thought, if it wasn't because of his play down the line, that maybe they get him all the way to the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, he did play pretty well that season where they did make the run to the AFC Championship game. And then, this past season was a little bit of a struggle. It was a tough time for him, no doubt about it. And, I don't think at all it was bad. I mean, it was solid enough for what it was worth. And yeah, congratulations to Blake Bortles. And yeah, he can learn from a great position. He's got a great guy that he's going to be working with, a great team that they're going to be working with. And that is, with Sean McVay, with Jared Goff, with the Los Angeles Rams, and yeah, they went all the way to the Super Bowl this past year. So, serving as a backup, it's not, I know he feels like he could still be a starter somewhere else, but right now you're probably just going to need a season. If everything works well, then maybe he gets an opportunity. It's always tough to be demoted, or it's always tough to get replaced, especially in Jacksonville. But you knew the writing was on the wall the minute they were talking with Nick Foles, and at that point, it was basically you knew he was going to go somewhere. He probably was either he was hoping for a starting position. Better to be a backup for now and then just work your way. So, sometimes if Jared Goff has a bad performance, something like that, he might get an opportunity, garbage time, whatever, or just he'll probably get a lot of reps during preseason as well. So, I mean, it's gonna be a little bit of a departure for Blake because of the fact that he was the guy for at least 2 or 3 years in Jacksonville. Now he's going to be the backup. So it's going to feel like uncharted water for him. But if he can navigate through it, be that team player, who knows? You never know what can happen in the NFL. So nothing more to say. Anthony, let's move on to the next story.
Staying in the NFL, MF, keep your mic on because you'll be leading off on this one. The other big story, maybe the big story in the NFL, if you really think about it this past week, the retirement of Rob Gronkowski. Gronk calling it a career at only 29 years of age. Before MF starts it off, I'll tell you what. He was the 42nd pick in the second round in 2010 at the University of Arizona. Played his entire career with the New England Patriots, never played for another team. His accolades, very simple. 3-time Super Bowl champion, 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, the NFL Comeback Player of the Year in 2014. 2011, led the NFL in receiving touchdowns. In college, he was a third-team All-American in 2008, as well as a first-team All-Pac-10 in 2008. And he retires with the career numbers of 521 catches, 7,861 receiving yards, and 79 touchdowns. And, of course, in 2011, as we all know, he had 17 receiving touchdowns. As far as records go, he set several NFL records, including the most receptions by a tight end in Super Bowl history, as well as the most receiving yards in Super Bowl history, career postseason receiving touchdowns by a tight end. And when it comes to Patriots, he has 6 Patriot franchise records, 79 touchdown catches, 16 games with multiple TDs, 26 games with 100 or more receiving yards, highest receiving yards per game average, 83. Youngest Patriot with 3 receptions in a game, 3 TD receptions in a game at age 21 in the 2010 game against Pittsburgh. And the youngest Patriot with 3 touchdown catches in the playoff game, that divisional game against Denver. MF, you should know, you were there, you called it. And that was that one year that we, we're not together, but, so there you have it. So Gronk calls it a career. So MF, you heard the numbers, 3 Super Bowls. The accolades go on and on and on. The injuries caught up to him. Question is, what's next? WWE, entertainment, what?
I don't know. I mean, right now, obviously, WWE is definitely wanting an opportunity at Rob Gronkowski. I know they definitely been talking. I mean, it could be anything at this point. It is a little bit unfortunate that he wanted to end his career this way, but, in a way, he's going out on top. He did win the Super Bowl. He did have that key play, that 29-yard reception that led to the Sony Michel touchdown that pretty much iced the Super Bowl against the Los Angeles Rams. And, look, whatever the case may be, we're gonna say it like this: Rob Gronkowski is by far one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. He'll be in the same breath as we know as he'll definitely be in the same breath as Tony Gonzalez. He'll also be in the same breath as Antonio Gates. And Gronk is definitely there. He's done so much in his day, so much in his career. So without a doubt, he is considered one of the greats, no doubt about it, and deserves all the accolades, the love, and the respect that he's gotten. Congratulations to Rob for an incredible NFL career. I don't think there's really nothing uh, else we can say about it. Even as a Miami Dolphin fan, I respect Rob Gronkowski. Yes, does he get a little immature? Does he get himself in trouble with a lot of the hijinks that he does? Absolutely, but whenever he's on the field and whenever he was healthy, he was a matchup problem. Anytime that he was lined up, you always had a account for number 87. And every time he was out there, man, he was a beast. Any play that he played with full confidence, 100%. So for me, there's really nothing more to say. Rob Gronkowski is without a doubt one of the best tight ends that's ever played the game, and I tip my cap to him for an incredible career. Now I heard rumors that maybe he might come back. That give him a little bit of some time. That he might come back to the NFL. It's very possible. Look what happened with Jason Witten. Witten took a year off. And sometimes your heart is set on coming back, So who knows? At such a young age, at 29 years old, that doesn't necessarily mean that we've seen the last of Rob Gronkowski. It's possible he could come back. We never know. So I think right now, for me, it's so long, Gronk. But something tells me we might see him sooner rather than later back in the NFL. Just me personally, but if it is because of injuries, because of the back problems, the knee problems, we probably won't see him back. But again, you never know in this day and age. So, Anthony, back to you.
Yes, indeed. And I echo those same sentiments as a Buffalo Bills fan, or as I consider myself a long-suffering Buffalo Bills fan, even though we had that magical year in 2017. But, it is what it is. But anyways, Gronk made that team what it was. And, whether you were a Patriot fan or not, as in the case of myself and MF, I lost my train of thought for a minute. But yeah, whether you're a Patriot fan or not, you cannot help but respect Rob Gronkowski. He was so fun to watch. Made some insane catches. I remember a couple years ago when MF and I, we had a game against Buffalo late a couple of years ago where he had that insane touchdown catch. We were still gushing over that. But nonetheless, he's definitely up there as one of the greatest tight ends to ever play the game. Tony Gonzalez, the new Hall of Famer who will be going in this year. Another Hall of Famer, Shannon Sharpe, whether you like his big mouth or not. Of course, Ozzie Newsome, another legendary tight end. Yes, Antonio Gates, who's still doing big things at his age. Insane, old reliable, as we call him whenever we call Charger games. And yeah, he's up there. He's going to be, will he be the greatest of all time? You can make an argument. With everything he did. And yes, MF, I heard those same rumors myself. His agent, Drew Rosenhaus, as you know, said it's a retirement for now, but if Tom Brady, should reach out to him, if Tom Brady needs him desperately, in the middle of the season or something, maybe he comes out. I don't know, but nonetheless, for right now, a tip of the cap to Gronk. The Gronk spike, we'll never forget that, and all those things that he did. Of course, his ventures outside of NFL, that show he hosted, that he co-hosted on Nickelodeon, Crashleets. You know, Nickelodeon's version pretty much of ridiculousness, if you really think about it. It's pretty much an extreme version, a sports version, if you will, of ridiculousness, you know. That's basically what it was. He was basically the Rob Dyrdek of the show, and Stevie Nelson was the Chanel West Coast, and Brandon, I forgot his last name, that other guy, he was the Steel O'Brim, if you will. So I saw a few of those shows. They were pretty good. So yeah. Stephanie McMahon of the WWE had said that the door is open for Gronk if Gronk ever wants to, you know, pursue a career in the WWE. I mean, he has experience. We all remember WrestleMania 33, the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, where he took out Jinder Mahal and basically helped Mojo Rawley win that Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. And you know, only time will tell what's going to happen for Gronk in his next chapter. I mean, will it be WWE? Will he go to Hollywood? Will he make movies? I mean, that's a possibility. So, but nonetheless, we want to tip our cap and congratulate Rob Gronkowski on a fantastic career. All the best to him in his future endeavors, and you know, we'll take it from there. So, really, nothing more to say on this now. We go to Major League Baseball, and this is a story that I know MF has been dying and chomping at the bits to talk about since it was announced. Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, a couple weeks ago. Oof. The largest contract in professional sports history, a 12-year deal worth more than $430 million. Smashing previous records, and could keep the greatest player of his generation with the Angels throughout his entire career. Trout, who has won 2 American League MVP awards and finished second 4 times, will receive an average of nearly $36 million a year, topping Zach Greinke's previous record average of $34.4 million with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The $430 million plus total is more than 30% larger than the $330 million deal Bryce Harper signed with the Philadelphia Phillies 4 weeks ago. And actually also best boxer Canelo Alvarez's deal with DAZN by more than $65 million. Trout, who was only 27 years of age, was due to be a free agent following the 2020 season, at which point he was expected to set off a frenzied bidding war among the largest market teams in the game. The clamoring already had begun with Bryce Harper lobbying for Trout to join him in Philadelphia, 45 miles from Trout's hometown of Millville, New Jersey. The Angels nullified that possibility by ripping up the final 2 seasons of his 6-year, $144.5 million deal and replacing it with the new 12-year deal through the 2030 season, sources told ESPN. Whew. Without question, a generational talent with an unparalleled set of skills among his peers, he has put together arguably the greatest start to a career in baseball history. In 1,065 games, slashed .307, .416, .573 with 240 home runs, 648 RBIs, 793 runs scored, and 189 stolen bases. No player in history has put up more wins above replacement through his age 26 season than Trout's 64.3. Albert Pujols saying it's well deserved. Pujols, who signed the large contract himself to join the Angels in 2011, a 10-year, $240 million deal. He said, "I don't think there's anybody in baseball besides him that deserves that contract. Trout is the best, and the numbers speak for itself." He also said, "I got mine in my time, and I'm just really excited, really pumped up for him and his family, for his mom and dad. Just real exciting. To sign and be here, hopefully, for the rest of his career is going to be pretty special, too." Of course, the Angels' past forays in the long-term contracts have not paid off. Their deal with Pujols and a 5-year, $125 million deal with Josh Hamilton are considered albatrosses. The possibility of losing Trout was simply too daunting to not complete a deal. Trout casts his lot with an organization that has made the playoffs just once during his 8 major league seasons and was swept in the first round when it did. LA's bustling farm system and the ability for owner Artie Moreno to parlay a $3 billion local TV deal into higher payrolls gave Trout enough security to lock down a deal through his age 38 season. After joining the Angels as the 25th pick in the 2009 draft, Trout blitzed through their farm system and debuted at 19 years old during the 2011 season. He established himself as a star the next season, winning the American League Rookie of the Year award and finishing second in the MVP voting for the first of 2 straight seasons. He won it in 2014 and again in 2016, and he finished as the runner-up again this past season. Arguably his best season yet. Had a .312 average. Of course, he also had a .460 and .628 with 39 homers and 79 RBI in 140 games. And there you have it. So it is, it's an over-the-top deal, but it's obvious. Mike Trout is the franchise player. He is the heart and soul of that franchise. I know they haven't, it hasn't led to any long-term success. Only one playoff appearance. That was back in, I believe, 2014 when they were swept 3 in a row in the division series by that year's eventual American League champions, the Kansas City Royals, when they had that Cinderella run in 2014 that had MF and I captivated. But it's amazing. I mean, all these big money contracts that have just been, going out lately. I mean, the Harper deal and now this. I mean, in a way, yes, talent-wise, he definitely deserves it, with the numbers that he puts up every year. But the thing that bothers me is, what have the Angels had to show for it? Unfortunately, it's nothing. Just one measly playoff appearance. And they did nothing with that. So I don't know. I still don't know if it's going to lead to long-term success for the team down the road. I know he's going to put up the numbers. There's no denying that. He's going to put up the numbers. He's fun to watch, but honestly, the Angels are just not that team for me. I want to see him thrive with a team that I know he can be a success with. A team that, can get him what he deserves to have, and that's a championship ring. I have faith that someday he will be in the World Series. I just don't know. No, I know it's not going to be with the Angels unless they do something incredible and come out of nowhere and have an amazing year. But they're just not the team for me. He should be, with a team that, can get him that result. A team like maybe like a Yankees or a Red Sox or an Astros or something like that, where he can thrive, put up those big numbers, have a great team around him, and then that will equal the immediate results. So I have faith he's going to be a champion someday, but he's not going to do it in an Angel uniform. You heard it here first. That's just me being the Tim McCarver of this group. So I can't be Tim McCarver without Joe Buck. So I'm going to give it to the Joe Buck right now, and that's MF. So I know this leads to a disagreement.
Well, no, it's not going to lead to a disagreement. Like, you made some valid points, Anthony. Like, you're absolutely right. But the thing is that the Angels thinking of this as more than just a great baseball player. This is one of the biggest commodities that they got right now. This is the face of the franchise type move that they just did. And the thing is that what really accelerated this move was literally because of the fact that Bryce Harper started chirping about that, I would love to try to get him into Philadelphia, everything else. Basically, he caused some tampering in my eyes. And MLB didn't go after him after the fact that that the Angels signed him to that long-term deal. So if anything, if I'm Mike Trout, I would be thanking Bryce Harper for accelerating this deal. They had to get this done. As far as it being a monumental decision, absolutely. But they needed to get this done. If they let Mike Trout walk with no return whatsoever, I'm telling you, the pitchforks and the torches would be heading down to the Angels front office right now, and they'd be asking for the general manager's head and the owner's head on platters. So this had to be done. This was a smart move by the Angels. They had to make this move and everything else. But Anthony, you're absolutely right. You got a very valid point. The Angels are right now not capable of a World Series run. Even though they got Ohtani, who's a great player, they got some good pieces around them. What they need to do is work on the farm system. It's basically like what Manny Machado's walking into with the Padres. It's basically you gotta hope that the young guys deliver and that they can build off what they got right now, and then give Trout the opportunity to be that MVP type caliber player. Maybe him lure some of the big free agents to LA, because LA is a great market. It's a beautiful city. You put that around them, maybe in about 3 to 5 years, we may be talking about the Angels making a run. Remember, this is a long contract. 12 years is a long time. So you just got to be patient and just trust the process, and I think that's the best way to say it. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
Well, now we're going to get into some fun stuff now. Well, yeah. It was scheduled to be a triple main event if you really think about it, even though Derek was promoting it as a double. But I consider it a triple. Unfortunately, 1/3 of that triple main event is not here. That being Michael Bullock, because we were going to have him share his experiences from last weekend's 24-hour Super Plunge as part of the Special Olympics Rhode Island. But he's not here. I doubt he will be. We'll have to probably push that back to a future show. But this is we're gonna make a slight adjustment to that double main event, and we're gonna start it off with the NCAA tournament. Oh my word! What games we had today? We were supposed to preview the Elite Eight, but with the show being pushed back to tonight because of my special commitment last night, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna recap what happened in the games today, and 2 games, 2 5-star classics, both chock full of Shakespearean drama at its finest. And we'll start it off with the game that I had today. The game up in the Pond in Anaheim, the Honda Center. Out of the West region, we had the number 3 seed Texas Tech Red Raiders out of the Big 12 squaring off against the number 1 seed Gonzaga Bulldogs out of the West Coast Conference. When all was said and done, Texas Tech. Give it up for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, man. Knocking off Gonzaga 75-69. And for the first time in school history, Texas Tech is going to the Final Four. Wow. What a game. Let me tell you. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. I mean, this was just an amazing game. Yes, it was marred. There was some controversy, some controversial calls in this one, but still, it was still a fun game. And, it was fun for me. I mean, I hated losing Big East teams. And, so I went with the team that, I fell in love with 20 years ago, and that was Gonzaga. And let's be realistic. They're no longer that little team that could, they're now legitimately, right now they're stuck in the mid card. They're not quite main event level talent yet. I mean, they got to the main event a couple of years ago, but they lost, and they lost out on the championship thanks to Carolina. But still, I mean, another great season for Gonzaga, and Texas Tech now going to the Final Four. first time ever. I mean, what an honor for them. I mean, I'm happy for those kids. I really, really am. It was Culver led the way with 19. Mooney chipped in 17, but the young man who really stepped up down the stretch was Moretti. Moretti of Texas Tech was the young man who had some clutch shots, a couple of clutch threes down the stretch to win it for Texas Tech. And it was Clark who led Gonzaga with actually it was Hashimura had 22, Clark had 18, Perkins 16, Norvell Jr. with 10, and Texas Tech shooting 44% from the field goal percentages were about even, but it was T-Tech who had the slight advantage, 43.9 to 42.4. The three-point shooting, that was the key difference, 39% for T-Tech, about 27 for Gonzaga. T-Tech also won the turnover battle. They had 11 turnovers. Gonzaga had 15. Zags won the rebounding edge, 37-29. 15-11, the assists for Gonzaga. 7 blocks for T-Tech as well. 4 for Gonzaga. 9-8, the steal advantage for T-Tech as well. So congratulations to head coach Chris Beard and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. And it was good old MF Michael Fletcher who on this show some time ago, said that Texas Tech, basically was, not that good of a team. He had doubts about Texas Tech, and he said that, they weren't going to hang. He said we agreed they were going to get tested by Buffalo, but, they found a way to beat them. MF went on to say there's no way they're beating Michigan. I think they must have heard you, MF, because look what they did. They manhandled Michigan, and now they take down the Zags, and now Texas Tech is going to the Final Four. How you like them now?
Hey, I mean, look, they proved me wrong. I'm not going to say anything about it. Congratulations, they did it. For them to make it this far to go to the Final Four, that's no slouch, man. There's no doubt about it. They deserve to be there. They deserve the right to get there, and they earned the right. There's really nothing bad to say. They completely they stymied Michigan, which was even everybody was admitting that. They were like, they couldn't believe how bad Michigan played in that game, but they made them look bad. They made them look embarrassed. So, there's really nothing bad to say about it. They did it. Texas Tech deserves the right to go to the Final Four. They took out Michigan. They took out Gonzaga. A lot of people had the Zags as one of the favorites to win the national championship, and they knocked them out. So, no, there's really nothing more to say. So, Texas Tech did what they needed it to do. They punched their ticket. They're going to be a tough out. They're going to be a tough out, and now they're going to be awaiting the winner of Michigan State and Duke when they play in the Final Four next Saturday night. So, we'll wait and see what happens. Nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
And let's get into the other game from tonight. I mean, if you thought Texas Tech and Gonzaga was good, you were like, okay, Purdue and Virginia, what do you got? Oh, they followed it.
They basically were like, that was good. Hold my jacket. Let's show you how we get our Elite Eight done.
5-star classic, chock full of Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. It was the South Regional, I believe. The KFC Yum Center, Louisville, Kentucky. The number 3 seed Purdue Boilermakers out of the Big Ten squaring off against the number 1 seed Virginia Cavaliers out of the ACC. First of 2 Big Ten ACC challenges. MF, I know how much you love that every year.
Yep.
And you didn't have to wait until November. I mean, usually we get it right, like around November, December or sometime. ESPN has those big series of games with the Big Ten ACC challenge. And, well, you didn't have to wait until that time this upcoming year because we've got 2 of them here in the tournament. And here was the first one. Virginia gets their redemption redeeming themselves after the humiliation and embarrassment that was 1 year ago, being on the wrong side of history when they became the first and to this day only number 1 seed to lose to a number 16 seed in the NCAA tournament, losing to UMBC. And they were the number 1 overall seed a year ago. That made it even more painful. This year, they were the number 2 overall seed, only behind their conference counterpart, Duke. And they got it done. It took overtime to do it, but they did it. 80-75. And they overcame the beast that was Carson Edwards, one of the greatest single game tournament performances you will ever see. 42 points on the night, 14 of 25 from the field, 10 of 19 from 3, 4 of 4 from the line. But still, it was Guy who led the way for Virginia with 25, Jerome right behind with 24. Diakate was the hero who sent it to overtime, where it looked like Purdue had it won. He put up a somewhat of a mini prayer. It was answered, and Virginia gets their redemption, going to the Final Four for the first time since 1984, and they will await the winner of tomorrow's all SEC matchup out of the Midwest region, when number 5 Auburn squares off against the number 2 seed in that region, Kentucky. Auburn and Kentucky will battle for the Final Four spot. Whoever wins that will go up against Virginia. And then from there, the main event of this regional final weekend, MF and company will have it out of the East region in Washington, D.C. The matchup that MF wanted, he got it. The number 2 seed, Michigan State Spartans, Tom Izzo and company, against the number 1 overall seed, Duke Blue Devils, Mike Krzyzewski. You know, 2 men who you could easily put on the Mount Rushmore of college basketball coaches. And, of course, 2 programs that MF has on his personal Mount Rushmore. I believe it was a year or 2 ago that MF got to witness Kentucky and North Carolina in a regional final for the right to go to the Final Four. And now, MF, you've got Michigan State and Duke tomorrow in D.C. We'll hold off on that for a minute, but Purdue and Virginia, 5-star Shakespearean drama at its absolute finest. Virginia, how about it, man? They got their redemption, and they had to overcome a very game Carson Edwards to do it.
I mean, it was, I think we said it earlier. We kind of said it privately. This was this was unbelievable. The heart that they had, the confidence that they had, they just did not want to go away. And the game was so amazing, down to the wire. I know there's a lot of heartbreak in Purdue tonight. A lot of broken-hearted Boilermaker fans and the kids themselves. Like I said earlier to you, Anthony, privately, they got nothing to be ashamed of. This was a tremendous performance. They worked their tails off. It was unfortunate that this is the way that the season ends for them, but you know, they don't have to hang their head on this one. This was an unbelievable season for them, and they got a lot of great things down the line for them. And as far as, and like you said, as it relates to Virginia, it's redemption for them. 1 year ago, they were humiliated as they got bounced out of the tournament in the first round, shockingly. And now here they are 1 year later. They're cutting down the nets in Louisville tonight as they punch their ticket to the biggest party in all of college sports, the biggest event in all of college sports. They're playing in the Final Four, the holy grail of college basketball, and it doesn't get any better than this. It's a remarkable story. There's really nothing bad to say about it. They had a tremendous season, great performance. Yeah, Anthony, they deserve it. They worked their tails off. They busted their butts.
Amen.
And I got to say, congratulations to the Virginia Cavaliers for making the Final Four. As an ACC guy, I am very proud. I'm smiling from ear to ear about an ACC team making it to the Final Four. You know, there was a lot of debate, a lot of questions about 3 number ones. You know, would they live up to the hype and everything else? Well, so far we got one in the Final Four. Could we get Duke in the Final Four tomorrow when they play against Michigan State? Even though Michigan State is going to be a tough out for Duke. And especially the way that Duke's been living dangerously in the last few games.
2 games.
Yeah, the last 2 games, they've been living pretty dangerously. So
UCF on Sunday, and then
last night against Tech, and you know, so we'll see what happens with Duke. We'll get into that in a little bit, but especially as it relates to Virginia, man, you know, like you said, redemption is the key word. They needed this. They needed a deep run. They could not have fall flat on their faces 2 years in a row. That would have been horrible in so many ways. But for them to make it to this, the pinnacle, I mean, absolutely well deserved more than anything else. Anthony, it's yours.
Yes, and we're going to stay with the tournament, MF. Of course, we have 2 more. We have 2 more regional finals to get through. They will go down tomorrow over on CBS. 2:20 approximately the tip time at the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Missouri, I believe it is, when we have an all SEC matchup with the number 5 seed Auburn Tigers continuing their incredible run. They KO'd North Carolina last night, did so in grand fashion, putting them away. And then Kentucky surviving Houston. So you have the number 5 seed, Auburn Tigers, a la Lindsey McCormick and Charles Barkley, squaring off against the number 2 seed, Kentucky Wildcats. The winner goes to the Final Four and a date with Virginia. That's at 2:20 on CBS. And then from there, the main event, approximately 5:05 tip time, East Regional, Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C., the number 2 seed, Michigan State Spartans, the number 1 seed and number 1 overall seed, Duke Blue Devils. Man alive, it's going to be something else. And MF, a quick prediction on both of those regional finals tomorrow?
Well, I'm going to say this. Going into this, I was going to say that I thought Kentucky's the better team, especially against Auburn. But the way Auburn's been playing, man, I mean, I think they might go to the Final Four. I think we might get an upset here.
I agree.
I think they've been living dangerously up to this point. They've been making a big run. I'm going to be real honest with you. I think Auburn is going to knock Kentucky off. I mean, yes. Kentucky looked pretty vulnerable last night. I thought they easily could have lost in their regional semifinal game. I think they were very fortunate that they won it the way that they did. So I think when it comes to them, I think I think Auburn goes to the Final Four. As far as Duke and Michigan State goes,
your game,
man, that can go either way. I know Duke. I know Duke's been living dangerously the past 2 games. We've been saying it. They were very fortunate that they won against VCU. Very fortunate to win over UCF. Very fortunate to beat Va Tech. Michigan State's been mowing people down like you wouldn't even believe lately. And a lot of people, even the experts, even though, yes, a lot of people say Duke's going to win the national championship, if you've been listening to ESPN, guys like Jay Billis, Self Greenberg, they got Michigan State knocking out Duke in this game.
Could happen.
So, it could happen. I think that's the best way to say it. We just don't know how it's going to play out. Obviously, I want Duke to win. That's my team. I'm going to be a little biased here. I want Duke to win. Would I be stunned if Michigan State wins? No, I would not be stunned because they have been playing unbelievable college basketball lately.
Okay,
And
last night.
I mean, even I'll openly admit it. If Duke was not in this bracket, Michigan State is not only the team that I'm looking at right now. I'm going to openly admit this. If Michigan State gets by Duke tomorrow, I think Michigan State wins the national championship. They would be my pick to win it all and cut down the nets in Minneapolis, because I feel like that, because it being so close to home, it's an easier trek for them from Michigan to Minnesota. That's not that far. I think they would have the home court advantage in the Final Four if they make it. So obviously right now, at least personally, if Michigan State wins, I think they go to, not only do they go to the Final Four, I think they win it all. That's my personal opinion.
Wow. Okay. So, you're going to have a beauty on your hands, man. I mean, I
Oh,
can't
absolutely. I can't wait, man. I'm giddy.
You were torn. Because you
Oh,
had
absolutely.
You had that one bracket with Duke and Vatech, Michigan State and LSU. And then on the other side, you saw, oh, God, Carolina and Kentucky. But then you were like, you know what? I got to see Carolina and Kentucky in a regional final. Let me take the chance and go with the East bracket. And you got rewarded, man. And look what you got. Ooh, you got what you wanted, man. You got what you wanted. So two of your all-time favorites, two teams on your Mount Rushmore. And you've got a heavyweight coaching battle with Coach K and Tom Izzo. I mean, man alive, is that going to be fun for you? So, and I agree. I have Auburn beating Kentucky as well. I mean, I would not be surprised with the way they've been, rolling lately. They won the SEC tournament, and I think they're going to go all the way there. I'll be honest. I'm going to give a slight edge to the Dukies against Michigan State because of that freshman trio that MF loves so much with Williamson and Barrett and company. So, but that's going to be a heavyweight fight, no doubt about that. So, man, I cannot wait. It's going to be great. All right. One last order of business here this evening, unless Michael Bullock comes in, and that is Major League Baseball is back. 2019 Major League Baseball season. I mean, man, it kicked off the other night, and we've seen a lot of great things happening. So here you go. And of course, me being the baseball guy, I'm gonna start it off, and our division by division look, and here we go. Starting, of course, with the AL East, and for me, this is my overview of the American League East. I got the Boston Red Sox slightly winning the division again. I have them winning it by a game over my Yankees. I got the Tampa Bay Rays finishing third, the Toronto Blue Jays finishing fourth, and the Baltimore Orioles finishing in the basement. Red Sox will win the division. I got the Yankees as a wild card team, and the Red Sox won a franchise record 108 games last season, then went 11-3 in the postseason on their way to another World Series championship. The back of the bullpen is a question mark with the likely departure of Craig Kimbrell, leaving Ryan Brazier and Matt Barnes as the leading candidates to fill the closer role. Aside from that, the core of the team returns intact, and a full season of a healthy Nathan Eovaldi could take the rotation to another level. The Yankees might have something to say, after addressing the starting rotation by trading for James Paxton and bringing back late season standout J.A. Happ for a full year, a new deal for Zach Britton, and the addition of Adam Ottavino will continue to make the bullpen a major weapon as well. If Gary Sanchez can bounce back and Luke Voit can come anywhere close to duplicating his late season heroics, a potent offense could be even more dangerous. The dark horse is Tampa Bay. 19-9 September helped them finish with 90 wins. And while the offense is still light on run producers, the pitching staff could be one of the best in baseball. Tyler Glasnow looks like a breakout candidate. Brent Honeywell could join the rotation by midseason if he's able to shake off the rust following Tommy John. And reigning Cy Young winner Blake Snell will again front the staff alongside free agent signing Charlie Morton. An opener will likely be used again to fill out the staff after they enjoyed tremendous success with that experiment last season. For the Blue Jays and Orioles, it'll be a season of rebuilding. Blue Jay fans have the impending arrival of top prospect Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and several other high-end players to keep things entertaining. As for Baltimore, fresh off a 115-loss season, no reprieve in sight. Sorry. AL Central, I again have the Cleveland Indians winning it. I got the Minnesota Twins finishing second, the White Sox in third, Royals fourth, and the Tigers in the basement. The Indians have cruised to 3 straight Central titles by a combined 38 games. No end in sight to their stranglehold on the top spot in that division. The starting rotation of Corey Kluber, Trevor Bauer, Carlos Carrasco, Mike Clevenger, and Shane Bieber took the #1 spot in Bleacher Report's recent list of the top 10 starting staffs in baseball, as well as my own. A step forward from Bieber, who looks like a potential breakout star, would make a great staff even better. Yes, there are holes in the outfield and at the catcher position, but with Francisco Lindor and Jose Ramirez leading the offense, they should score enough runs to back their excellent pitching staff en route to another comfortable division title. After a surprise wildcard berth 2 years ago, the Twins took a disappointing step backward, winning 7 fewer games to finish a distant second in the standings. It's a make-or-break year for them. Byron Buxton and Miguel Sano, after both underperformed again last year, if they could produce up to their potential and the rotation holds up behind Jose Barrios, another push for a playoff spot could be in order. Relying on Blake Parker and Trevor May to close games might prove to be a regrettable decision, though there's still time to make a run at Craig Kimbrell. From there, it's a battle to avoid the cellar between the White Sox, Royals, and Tigers. White Sox had the best chance of exceeding expectations, even though they did not sign Manny Machado or Bryce Harper. Top prospect Eloy Jimenez will provide a major boost offensively, and offseason additions Ivan Nova, Alex Colomé, and Kelvin Herrera should help solidify a young pitching staff. Royals have a longer rebuild ahead of them due to a weak farm system, but they're probably a better team than the Tigers this year. I could see both teams easily losing 100 games. West, well, we all know who's going to win that division. I got Houston winning that division again. I got Oakland finishing second. I got the Angels in third. I got the Mariners in fourth, and I got the Rangers dead last. The Astros have rattled off back-to-back 100-win seasons. They're the clear favorites to win the division again. Even though they did lose Charlie Morton in free agency, Dallas Keuchel likely to follow, and Lance McCullers out for the season. It'll be up to starter-turned-reliever Colin McHugh, free agent signing Wade Miley, and hard-throwing Josh James to shore up the rotation. The impending arrival of top prospect Forrest Whitley helps the rotation situation, as do depth options like Brad Peacock and Framber Valdez. On the offensive side, the addition of Michael Brantley to an already high-powered offense and the prospect of a bounce-back season from Carlos Correa could make a high-powered lineup even more productive. Oakland surprised more than a few people, including me, on their way to 97 wins and a wild-card spot. Matt Chapman is a bona fide superstar, and guys like Matt Olson, Chris Davis, and Steven Piscotty will help drive an underrated offensive attack. Bullpen will also be a weapon once again with sinker baller Blake Treinen slamming the door. The question is whether a starting rotation led by Mike Fiers and Marco Estrada can really lead a team to another postseason berth. In an effort to avoid squandering another year of Mike Trout, the Angels have slapped a Band-Aid on an underperforming starting rotation by signing Matt Harvey and Trevor Cahill to one-year deals. The addition of veteran catcher Jonathan LaCroix could also help the pitching staff. But still, like we said earlier, this looks more like a team capable of hovering around 500 than a legitimate playoff contender. If they fall out of contention early, it might be time to start seriously entertaining offers for Trout with free agency awaiting after the 2020 year. Seattle focused on trimming payroll and rebuilding the farm system, so a playoff drought that stretches back to 2001 likely will be extended. And meanwhile, the end of the Adrian Beltre era also appears to have signaled the start of a roster retooling for the Texas Rangers. Expect guys like Mike Minor, Jose Leclerc, Joey Gallo, Nomar Mazara, and Ronald Odor to be hot commodities at the trade deadline. So when it comes to the American League, I got the Sox, Indians, and Astros as division winners, and my wild card teams, the New York Yankees and I could even maybe say Tampa. I could see Tampa possibly. I could see the AL East getting 3 teams in there. So we'll wait and see on that. Now, quickly, as far as the NL goes, I know I'm surprising. I initially had Atlanta winning the division, but now I'm going with Philadelphia to win the division. I think Atlanta will be a wild card, then the Nationals, and then the Mets, and then the Marlins. It's going to be an all-out war in the NL East. The Atlanta Braves took full advantage of a lackluster season from the rest of the division, improving drastically on a 72-90 season to claim their first NL East title since 2013, with rising stars Ronald Acuna Jr. and Ozzie Albies anchoring the offense alongside superstar Freddie Freeman, and a wave of impressive young pitching talent set to bolster the starting staff behind Mike Foltynewicz and Kevin Gausman. Things are trending up in Atlanta. The pressing question is whether they can hold off the rest of the division in the short term and return to the playoffs. Despite the loss of Bryce Harper, Nationals might actually be a better overall team on the heels of a disappointing 82-80 finish. Patrick Corbin and Anibal Sanchez were added to replace Gio Gonzalez and Tanner Roark in the rotation. Bounce-back candidate Brian Dozier was signed to play second base, and top prospect Victor Robles now has a clear path to playing time in the outfield. On paper, it might be the most talented team in the division, but they've been the perfect example of how the game is not played on paper the past several years, so it would be prudent to rein in expectations. The Mets were the busiest team in the division during the offseason, adding Robinson Cano and Edwin Diaz in the blockbuster trade with the Mariners, then signing Wilson Ramos, Jed Lowry, Juris Familia, and Justin Wilson to further fortify the roster. Could once again boil down to the health of a starting rotation that has rarely been whole the past few seasons. For the Phillies, yes, they got Bryce Harper, even though they did not get Manny Machado, Dallas Keuchel, or Craig Kimbrell. You know, it's hard not to view the offseason haul of Andrew McCutchen, John Segura, and David Robertson as something of a disappointment after talks of spending stupid money when the offseason began. There's no question. This is a great Philly team. And, you know, when I did my preview beforehand, this was before all this stuff happened, I had Atlanta winning that division, but I think it's Philly's division to win now. And deciding where to trade all-star catcher JT Realmuto is the biggest impact the Miami Marlins will have on the season. So Philly and Atlanta, I could see them coming out of the East. I think Philly will win the division and Atlanta will be a wild card team. NL Central, I got the Cubs winning it. I got St. Louis finishing second, Milwaukee in third, Cincy in fourth, and Pittsburgh last. NL Central, we all know last year, 3-team battle. Could be even tighter this year. Cubs are, I think, still the most talented team in the division, top to bottom. A healthy Yu Darvish and a full season of Cole Hamels could give them one of the best starting rotations in the game. And the offense ranked fourth in the NL in runs scored despite disappointing seasons from Chris Bryant and Wilson Contreras. If they play up to their potential and put last season in the rearview mirror, there's no reason the Cubs cannot be the class of the division again. That being said, the Cardinals, their arch rivals, they made some big moves this winter. Paul Goldschmidt gives the offense its first true middle-of-the-order run producer since Albert Pujols left town, and Andrew Miller could give the bullpen a major boost. The continued development of young players like Jack Flaherty, Harrison Bader, Jordan Hicks, and Tyler O'Neill could also be a major factor as the Cardinals look to return to the postseason. The Milwaukee Brewers are the defending champs after a 96-win season, but they're tempting fate by banking on the bullpen-heavy approach they leaned on last season to be successful again. A healthy Jimmy Nelson could be a major X factor, and the same goes for Corbin Burns and Brandon Woodruff if they wind up moving into the rotation. Still, a lot went right for this team last year, and aside from the addition of Yasmani Grandal, they spent the offseason resting on their laurels. And don't forget NL MVP Christian Yelich either. On the other hand, the Reds have made a surprising push to contend by adding Alex Wood, Tanner Roark, and Sonny Gray to their rotation. They also cut ties with light-hitting speedster Billy Hamilton, which could open the door for top prospect Nick Senzel to take over as the starting center fielder earlier in the year. Pesky team last season, even on its way to 95 losses, and a major improvement could be coming. And that leaves the Pittsburgh Pirates as the unfortunate pick to finish in the basement. If they were playing in the AL Central or even the NL West, the Pirates would be wildcard contenders. A rotation fronted by Chris Archer, Jameson Talon, and Trevor Williams has a chance to be quietly excellent. And there's a good young offensive core in the making, but they play in the NL Central. Sorry. NL West, I got the Dodgers winning. Once again, I got the Rockies in second, D-backs in third, Padres in fourth, and the Giants last. Dodgers have won 6 straight NL West crowns, and 2019 does not look like they'll be unseated. Healthy seasons from Justin Turner, Corey Seager, and Hee-Jong Ryu will do more to improve the team than any outside additions, and the continued emergence of Walker Buehler as one of the game's best young pitchers should give the rotation a shot in the arm. Also, still more than enough talent in the farm system to provide in-house reinforcement or to serve as trade fodder if a significant need arises. It was the Rockies who took the Dodgers down to the wire last year, and there's no reason to think they won't be contenders again this year. The emergence of Kyle Freeland and German Marquez atop the rotation gives the team perhaps the best 1-2 punch in franchise history. If John Gray can find some level of consistency and pitch up to his potential, the starting staff could be a legitimate strength. Meanwhile, Nolan Arenado, Charlie Blackmon, and breakout candidate David Dahl will pace the offense, and don't bet against a big bounce-back season from Daniel Murphy. Still, there are enough questions on the pitching staff to give pause. The Diamondbacks began the season by trading superstar Paul Goldschmidt, but stopped short of a full-blown rebuild. That could still be coming at the deadline, but for now, there's still enough talent on the roster to think they can hover around 500. Zach Greinke and Robbie Ray are plus options atop the staff. Outfielder David Peralta is coming off a career year at the plate, and Ketel Marte looks primed for a breakout after a huge September. If the rising prospects make a big enough impact, the San Diego Padres could conceivably leapfrog the D-backs in the third in the division. Shortstop Fernando Tatis Jr. will be up before the break. Luis Urias should break camp with a starting job, and pitchers Chris Paddock, Logan Allen, and Cal Quantrill should all debut this year. This group is probably still a year away, but if the young guys and Manny Machado make a smooth transition, you never know. They could be a surprise wildcard contender. And that leaves the San Francisco Giants in the bottom. They seemingly still haven't fully accepted the obvious need to rebuild. A midseason trade of Madison Bumgarner might finally signal a waving of the white flag. So, National League, I got the Phillies, Cubs, and Dodgers as division winners. Wildcard teams, I will go with Atlanta and St. Louis. So that's my preview. So MF, I mean, you heard it all. Your thoughts, even though the season just started. One thing that stood out to me, NL West, the Dodgers, 7 home runs on opening day, a new franchise record.
Yeah, no, they're looking really strong, guys. There's no doubt about that. But let's go back up to the top to the American League East. I disagree, Anthony. I'm actually gonna go with the New York Yankees to win the division. I kind of feel like if they're completely healthy with no injuries and anything like that, there's no doubt in my mind. I think the Yankees are the best team in the division. I got the Boston Red Sox winning the wild card. I'm not going to disagree with that. I think you're absolutely right there. Central, I'm going to go with Cleveland as well. I think Cleveland's just that good of a team. I just don't think there's no other team that I could think of that would make much of a threat for Cleveland. And as far as the West goes, I got Houston winning the division. I agree with that. However, I got Oakland again coming out of the wild card. I think Oakland gets the wild card again. So for me, Yankees wins the East, Central goes to Cleveland, West goes to Houston, with the Red Sox and the A's as your wild card teams. National League East, I gotta go with Philadelphia. Yeah, I think the Bryce Harper move probably puts them over the top. I got Atlanta winning the wild card there. I got the Chicago Cubs once again winning the Central Division, but I disagree, Anthony. I don't have St. Louis winning the wild card. I got Milwaukee, the wild card winners because of that bullpen and the way that they play. And then obviously the Dodgers are the clear-cut favorites to win the West as well. So for me, National League, Philly wins the East, Cubs wins the Central. Dodgers wins the West with the Braves and the Brewers, the Brew Crew, getting the wild card. So that's it. Anthony, it's yours.
And I don't think we're going to have Michael Bolick with us this evening. So we were going to have him share his experiences from last weekend in the Special Olympic Super Plunge, the 24-hour Super Plunge. We will Probably have to save that for a future show. But for right now, we are going to put the bow on this special Saturday night edition of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. MF, if you want to share some quick shout outs here, we got a very big week next week. We got a big week.
One of the biggest weeks that we've had in a long time wrestling wise. So yeah, first off, thank you to all the great fans out there for making the show as incredible as it is. You guys are the best fans in the world. To the super fans out there, you guys know who you guys are. To the 2184 crew, much love. To my friends in junior high and high school days, much love to you guys too. That's it, guys. I got nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, stay right here, MF. We got some. I will get into the big week in just a moment. I just confirmed something with Derek Ferreira just moments ago. So, special shout outs to all of our tremendous fans and viewers who continue to make our shows as wonderful as they are, as over as they are. We appreciate it as always. You are the best fans in the world. Of course, special shout outs to Didi Woodson, Kevin Woodson, and the Woodson family, our insiders, Matt Ward, Jason Hicksonbaugh, Daniel Luttrell from the UK, who recently celebrated a birthday. So happy birthday, Daniel Luttrell. Of course, our first ladies, Megan Silva, who also celebrated a birthday today, as a matter of fact. So very special happy birthday to Megan Silva, along with Kaiser Butler and Lexi Calloway. The crew members, Tommy Souza, Eric Carrier, Jimmy Alden, Al Braderson, and Rob Parsons. Of course, Michael Bullock, who couldn't be with us tonight. And, of course, Derek Ferreira, who puts it all together every week. And, of course, all of our personalities from 6, 10, and 12, our friends over at ESPN, FS1, MLB Network, NFL Network, NHL Network, and NBA TV. Lindsay McCormick, who I know will be on the edge of her seat tomorrow as Auburn goes up against Kentucky for the right to go to the Final Four. And Stata Sorrell as well. Our friends from the Road Show, Will Gilbert, Brendan Kirby, and Michaela Johnson, the former co-host Megan Mooney and Mary Larson. And, of course, my wonderful friends and church family over at Oasis of Grace Ministries on 464 Silver Spring Street in Providence. If you need a church home, check them out, exit 25 off Route 95. Tomorrow morning, a little after 9, the Bible study, a little after 10:30, Sunday morning service, and Wednesday night at 7, Bible study. Had a very special service last night, an amazing service that went for several hours, and that's why we couldn't do the show last night. So at least we got it in tonight. I'm very glad about that. So, and I look forward to seeing them again later today. It's going to be another great service. I know it will be. So that's it for that. Now, one of our biggest weeks of the year coming up, friends. Oh, it's going to be great. WrestleMania week. And it all kicks off Monday night, immediately following Raw with Ridiculously Raw. The final Monday Night Raw before WrestleMania 35. 6-woman tag team match. Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, squaring off against the Riot Squad. This just got added today. An 8-woman tag team match featuring tag team champions Bayley and Sasha Banks, Beth Phoenix, and Natalya. Yes, we're going to get to see the Glamazon wrestle before WrestleMania. That's awesome. And they're going to square off against Nia Jax and Tamina. And on loan from SmackDown Live, the Iconics. So there's your 8-woman tag team matchup. Of course, Brock Lesnar's going to be there. They're also saying Batista's going to be there. And so much more. It's going to be a huge show. I can't wait for it. Monday night, the go-home show. And, of course, Mike Tony's take on 205 Live and Impact Wrestling. And then, of course, Tuesday night with MF over on Braves Fan 95, the Cerebral Smack Talk, the final SmackDown Live before WrestleMania. I don't know of anything that's being promoted for that, but you would have to imagine Kofi Kingston, what's going through his mind after his brothers of the New Day, Big E and Xavier, literally got him into that huge main event with Daniel Bryan. We're going to have to find out. Maybe the women's situation carries over there. You never know. So, and if MF has anything in the Mikey's mindset, I know he'll share that. And then Thursday night, sometime Thursday night, we gotta, come up with a decent time for all of us, a time that's good for all of us. Hopefully it's not too late. Thursday night, we are going to preview NXT TakeOver New York and WrestleMania 35. We will not have Strictly Sports on Friday night because we will be, glued to our computer screens, TV screens, what have you, for NXT TakeOver New York, headlined by Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano, 2 out of 3 falls for the vacant NXT Championship. My word, that is going to be insane. I cannot wait. That's a match of the year candidate right there, folks. Let me tell you that. That thing's going to be 5 easy. No doubt about it. And then, of course, Mania, we'll get into that. And we will not be on Friday. We will also not be on Saturday because that's the Hall of Fame. And the Final Four will be on the edge of our seats during both of those. We will not have a WrestleMania recap show on the Sunday immediately following WrestleMania because it's going to be a long night, my friends. It's going to be a very, very long night. And what we're going to do something really crazy and different this year. On Ridiculously Raw the night after, we are going to recap the Raw side of the WrestleMania card. And on the Cerebral Smack Talk subsequently, we will then go over the SmackDown side of things. And by the way, as part of the Raw thing, and since I covered 205 Live, the Cruiserweight match will be a part of the Raw side. So that will be included on that. And I think for that week only, I am going to disband the Tony's Take for that week. Focus on the Mania, on the Raw side of Mania. And
I'm probably gonna disband the Mikey's Mindset as well. So just to focus on Mania.
That's exactly right, and the shows. Raw the night after WrestleMania. You know how much fun that's gonna be. Ooh, IWC. Ooh. In an IWC territory, of course, Brooklyn, Barclays. You know they're gonna be nuts. We'll see if SmackDown Live follows suit. So there you go. Monday night, Ridiculously Raw. Immediately following Monday Night Raw. Tuesday night, Cerebral Smack Talk with MF. And then Thursday night, our big NXT TakeOver and WrestleMania preview show. So we can enjoy TakeOver on Friday, the Hall of Fame on Saturday, and Mania itself. And get ready, friends. This is going to be the most exciting week of the year. Get ready. It's going to be a hell of fun. So that's it. So until Monday night, as we start WrestleMania week, it's Anthony Florio here for Good Old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dee Woodson, Derek Ferrera. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. What up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed couple of days. And until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, when we kick off WrestleMania week, you've been watching this very special Saturday night edition of Strictly Sports right here on the Zone 25 on YouTube.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.